So
And I'm
good.
so excited to be interviewing Zach, who's the author and the creator of the Bible Study, which is a
Ow!
1 year study of the Bible and how it relates to you. So, Zach, thank you for being on the show, man.
Hey, thank you so much. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm so happy to be here.
yeah, me
Man,
too. I'm happy to have you and interview you. First
yeah,
question out the gate is
yeah.
what inspired you to write this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in 2014, I kind of fell away from my faith for quite a while, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to consider myself a Christian anymore because I didn't like a lot of Christians at the time because I knew a lot were hypocritical and they just weren't living the life that I knew Jesus to live. And so I hit a spot where I was like, all right, God, I'm going to give you 2 years, prove that you're real. And I decided that night that I was going to move out to Australia and study the
Wow,
Bible super intensely for 9 months. So we studied 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
wow.
And then I came home and I taught for the following 9 months everything that I had just learned. And by the end
Wow.
of that, I had like 10 to 20 pages of notes per book of the Bible. And I was like, okay, I got to do something with this now.
Yeah,
And the plan was to actually go back out to Australia and teach. But things fell through. They wouldn't allow me to because I skipped the prerequisite program and went straight to the advanced
yeah.
one. And because of that, I
Wow.
wasn't allowed to teach. And I was like shook. I was not having
Sure.
it. And so
Yeah.
I was like, all right, God, what is the plan here? And that night, anytime that I have like business ideas or things that I'm working on, the Lord, like ever since I was a kid, He gives me a full vision for what it should be, like design,
Yeah.
layout, everything. It's really wild,
Wow.
actually. I don't even know how to explain it except for that it's from Him. And so
Wow.
that happened with the study. So that night, as I'm like, what the heck, God? Like, I thought this was the plan. I wanted to go teach. He was like, nope,
Yeah.
download, boom. Um, and I knew the design, I knew the layout, and I knew exactly what I needed to do for the next however long. Hey, Bob.
Wow.
Sorry,
What's up, Bob?
had to say hi to my guy Bob.
That's cool.
Yeah,
No,
so
man,
that's where we are.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really, really cool. I'm curious, you said you did the program in Australia,
yeah,
went through the whole Bible from beginning to end. I know I mean, I myself haven't read the Bible from beginning to end.
yeah,
It can be quite intimidating for people. And you said,
totally.
you went from that, came back and taught, everything you just learned.
Yeah,
I'm curious, with that in mind, like how did you decide how you were going to structure and lay out the Bible study?
yeah. So I think with the Bible study itself, it's laid out very similar to the way that we studied out in Australia to an extent. So
Okay.
looking at the author, looking at the date, the theme, the way it's laid out, the key words, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then our whole thing was to read through the entire Bible or read through the entire book out loud in one sitting, and then we would go
Okay.
through and do a bunch of different like homework assignments to go along with that. So
Okay.
when I was putting the Bible study together, I was like, okay, this needs to be to an extent similar. And
Mhm.
so, sorry, I'm getting notifications if you see my finger swiping,
Oh,
I'm
that's
swiping them
okay.
away. Um, if you so I was like, in order to understand each book, I think it's super important to know who the author is, the time that it's written, and everything
Yeah.
about it from a big picture perspective. And so when you
Mhm.
look at the Bible study, it's very much you look at all those, and then you read through the entire book, and then you go through the
Yeah.
questions from the study itself.
Okay.
So yeah,
Very cool. So I'm sure there's people watching that want to write their own book or they're curious,
yeah.
how in the world did you design and publish this study? What was the process like for that?
Yeah, so like I said, when that night that I knew how everything was supposed to look and just be,
Mhm.
I spent the following 9 months taking all my notes and narrowing them down to what I thought was important, and then adding
Okay.
questions to it all. Super funny thing is, I hate writing. Like, it is not a passion of mine. I have never
Really?
once in my life sat down to write, but I know how to. Um,
Okay.
I, I I understand copywriting well. I understand what what makes people move and what makes people tick. And so
Yeah.
I had all this content, and I was like, cool, let's make it let's make it into this study now. And so I
Right.
took it took about 9 months, from January to September of 2016, writing the
Okay.
actual content. And my
Hmm.
background is a little bit of graphic design. I wouldn't say that, like, I don't love designing for other people, but I love designing things that I'm working on myself because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
passionate about that. So like I used to do designing for a lot of people, and I was like, man, I can't deal with all these edits and everything.
Right.
This
All
is
the
too much
changes.
work. Come on,
I know.
let me do me. And so
Yep.
I was like,
I totally relate to that,
yeah.
dude. Yep.
So with the study, I was like, shoot, this is gonna look exactly the way that I want it to look, whether or
Yeah.
not people dig it. So
Okay.
I actually got together with one of my friends, and she gave me a few tips on what she thought it should look like, and I took
Yeah.
a lot of that into consideration because she's a beast at design.
Okay.
And but from there, I took a few photos from friends, but other than that, it's
Mhm.
all just like my design with them, and I edited up a lot of those photos to make them uh,
That's cool.
more focused on. So I'm like a huge hip hop head, and I
Yeah.
love like hip hop culture. I love graffiti and
Yeah.
everything like that. So I
Right.
took a lot of that into account on the way that it's designed.
Yeah.
And I actually taught myself how to use InDesign. I taught myself how to
Okay.
um, put it all together in there because that's what the file
Yeah.
you need in order to send to the
Hmm.
printer.
Okay.
Um, and then it's a funny story. I I loved this one book that I had that this other company produced, and I reached
Hmm.
out to them asking where they had it printed from, and they were like, "Yeah, this spot in North Carolina." And so I
Yeah.
reached out to the spot in North Carolina, and I was like, "Hey, I want to print my book with the exact paper, the exact weight, the exact everything
Right.
that these people used." And so they gave me a quote for it all. So then I took that quote and brought it to a printer in Canada that was a lot cheaper. And
Okay.
um, they print everything for me. They ship it to a warehouse. So my mom is an author, and
Okay. That's cool.
she's an amazing woman. And so she's an author. She works with a publisher in Minneapolis here. And
Okay.
so they actually do all of my shipping and handling for me, which is
That's great.
super nice because then I don't have to take care of any of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Zach, like that's the one thing that I'm super impressed with you about because I was talking to
Yeah.
somebody the other day about
Yeah.
the difference between coming up with a great idea and then executing it. And
Yeah.
usually people fall in one or the other category. It's very
Yeah.
rare in my experience that you find somebody that can not only dream, think, and create, but also execute on the idea. And I'm telling you,
Thank you.
Zach, truthfully, like this
Thank
is
you.
really, really impressive. Like
Thank
I
you.
just got it
Yeah.
yesterday in the mail and I of course, I want to use it right away. So
Yeah.
this morning
Yeah.
I'm going through it and I'm like, I just love all the pictures and the design. I'm
Thank
really,
you.
really impressed with it. And in a
Yeah.
previous conversation, you talked to me about your Kickstarter campaign and
Yeah.
how you took the time to study successful Kickstarters, which helped you launch
Yeah.
this and get the finances for it. I
For
also think
sure.
that's another admirable trait about you is that, because even with what I'm learning, the more I
Yeah.
learn about, successful product launches or successful companies, it's usually done
Yeah.
by people who take time to study other people that have done it well and then they
100%.
implement those strategies. So
Totally.
I want to ask you,
Yeah.
what are some things you learned when you were studying successful Kickstarter campaigns, and how did you implement that for you? Why was yours successful? What did you do?
That's a good question, man.
Yeah.
My whole life has been about replicating successful people. So
Yeah.
I'm about to be 31. When I was 17, I got a job at a country club in town because I wanted to be around all the successful people that I could. I wanted
Hmm.
to glean off of them and learn from them. And then also
Yeah.
when I was 18 and older, my dad always suggested that I get coffee with CEOs in order to learn from them. So I would sit
That's
down
cool.
with them and I would literally be like, "Hey, what do you wish you knew at 22 that you know now, because
Yeah.
that alone, like, older successful people love talking about themselves. So if you can
Yeah.
get into a room with them and sit down and just want to learn from them, they will teach
Yeah.
you. So when it came
Mhm.
to me looking at the Bible study, it's a whole different train of thought, I think, but I think that was important.
Yeah.
With the Bible, with the Kickstarter campaign, I was like, okay, I need to make this successful no matter what, because I'm
Yeah.
going all in on it. I had already turned down some investors for it, and I was like, I want to do
Mhm.
it all independent. And
Yeah.
so I spent probably 4 weeks leading up to the Kickstarter campaign just researching and studying how other successful ones did it, what their
Mhm.
layout looked like, what their email campaigns looked like, and
Yeah.
I just replicated that completely. And I think that's where a lot of what a lot of successful people do is they just take what others have done in the past, because
Yeah.
it's already been a success. So why not make it your own? You know?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, yeah,
So, as the author of the Bible study, I'm sure
yeah,
every author has their why, has their heart's desire for the person reading the book. So for
yeah,
you, as the author, what is your heart's desire for every person that picks up this Bible study and goes through it? What do you
yeah,
hope that they'll experience and
yeah.
learn?
Yeah, I think so. Initially, I was like, man, you look at every other religion and they know their holy book so well. In Judaism,
Yeah.
you have to have the whole Torah memorized by the time you're 12. That's
Wow.
crazy. And then you have
Right.
people that are Christians that have been Christians their entire life and they've never read the Bible before front to back. And they don't
Yeah.
understand how it relates to them. Even if they did read it through, they may not
Yeah.
understand what it all means or how it
Sure.
is big picture. And I was like, that is
Right.
such a crucial aspect to our religion. Like, if you
Mhm.
consider yourself a Christian, it's like you should know what you believe, because there's like
Right.
a lot of crazy things, like wild things in the
Yeah.
Bible, and it's super cool. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are missing out on it.
Mm.
When I was growing up, I had such like a head knowledge of my faith, and it was
Yeah.
never like focused on my heart. And then once
Mhm.
when I was out in Australia, and I like everything changed for me and got rocked day one
Yeah.
just by the Holy Spirit. And I think that alone is like having that change and revelation
Mm.
is so crucial. And so with the Bible
That's
study, I'm like, I just want people to be in their word and understand it. Just read it through. Like, know how
Yeah.
it relates to your life. Because if you're basing your entire life, your entire future, your entire everything off of a book, you should know what it says.
Right. Yeah. That's really good, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's the big picture idea for the Bible study? What do you want to do with it, and how can we, those watching, help you accomplish that?
Yeah. I just want people to fall in love with the word. I didn't really know what was
Mhm.
going to happen with it.
Sure.
Now we're on our third printing. We are in like 26 countries or something like that.
Wow.
And I had big plans for it. We serve a huge God, and I have like
Yeah.
crazy faith for what he can do with it and what he wants to do with it.
Yeah.
But if it was for one person to inspire them to do something amazing, awesome. But if it's
Yeah.
for 100,000 people to inspire them to get deeper in their faith, awesome. So I think the biggest
Yeah.
thing is just sharing it with others and getting the word out about it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Godly Gains for just commenting. Appreciate you guys
Yeah,
interacting
come
with us.
on.
He said we need to know the word before we can practice what we preach, and that's so
Boom.
true.
That's
Yeah.
so good. Godly Gains,
Yeah.
don't watch my. Oh, I didn't even talk about it before. Shoot, I went to
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A today. Do not judge me, Godly Gains. This is it's just me,
Dude, but
okay, bro?
you do run with friends consistently. You run
I
it
do run.
off.
Those are the guys. If anybody else is a runner, actually, no, you don't even have to be a runner. We all started that, or those
Uh-huh.
guys started it. I just joined on the team because
Uh-huh.
like nobody had ever run before or wanted to run before, and I was like, bro, I cannot run a mile right now. I said to my buddy Pedro, and he was like, just do it. And so
Right.
Amazing. We've been crushing it. You
That's
should
so
definitely
cool.
follow Run with Friends. I got
Yeah.
them linked in my story. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
awesome.
love it. I love seeing your stories too. They're
Yeah,
really funny.
thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
Last question for you, Zach.
Yeah,
What's the future for Zach Windahl? What other
yeah,
companies are you building? Projects are you working on?
yeah. That's I'm ever since I was younger, I've always had my hands in a lot of different things at once. So
Hmm.
right now, I probably have my hands in like 8 different projects, but
Really?
they're all based around. I love consulting on product, on branding and product development.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people will come to me wanting to start a business, and I will help figure out how to make that business happen with them,
That's cool.
from a visual perspective, from a creation perspective, and all that. So working on
Yeah,
quite a few of those right now, and I love it. And then I'm working
yeah.
on like a little personal project that's mine. That's down the same lane as kind of the Bible study or something.
Okay.
Basically, just inspiring people to be kind and look at the positive and be joyful and
Yeah,
uh, just be better people and really
right.
understand what their identity is as a Christian, because I think that's something that's missed all the time.
Yeah,
And I grew up,
yeah.
my mom is a 4-time cancer survivor. So growing up, when
Wow.
I was 4, she was sent home with a 5% chance to live.
Wow.
And then she had stage 4 ovarian, colon, a tumor around her sciatic nerve, and breast cancer. And so, like
That's
that,
amazing.
from when I was 4 to 15, shaped me completely the way that I look at life. And
Wow.
she always taught me how to focus on the positive and be joyful in every situation because
Yeah.
it could be so much worse. And so
Wow.
I'm taking a lot of what I learned from that and who I am today, and trying to inspire others to also have that be kind of their life motto.
That's super
So
cool, man.
yeah,
Well, if people want to stay in touch with you and follow you along in your journey, what's the best
yeah,
way for
yeah.
them to do that?
I think Instagram is the biggest for sure.
Okay.
That's where I connect with people a lot. People send me wild messages every single day with
Really?
serious problems, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm educated enough to help you right now, but no, I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
Wow.
slide into these DMs and
Right?
I'll say hi.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, for your time and doing
Yeah,
this interview. It's been great to connect with you. I'll definitely be staying in touch with you. I know there's quite a few friends of mine that
yeah,
said that they want to buy it, or they've
amazing,
already purchased it, or it's on their
incredible,
buy list on Amazon. So I'm
awesome.
excited about just the influence that you've been able to make on my
Yeah,
friends in my circle. And
thank you.
thank you for your time, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.